Hey guys, Aaron here. Today I want to talk about finding and hiring employees. Employees are hard to come by, guys, good ones anyway. And when you find good ones, you want to keep them. Around here, how we find employees for our landscape business, how I've always done it, I've been in business 16 years. And at the beginning of those 16 years, it used to be Kijiji, which is sort of an equivalent to Craigslist, I guess. That's in the United States. And there used to be a lineup of people, tons of people that wanted to work, young, old, doesn't matter. And you would get a guy for the day, two guys, whatever you needed. And if they didn't work out, you'd get rid of them. And the next guy, you would have another guy by the end of the day, sort of thing. Well, Kijiji is useless now for finding employees, as far as I'm concerned, and it's merged into Indeed, and that's what I've been using for the past few years. Indeed.ca in Canada, anyway. And people post their resumes, and you post ads on there, and you can pay or you can do it free. But regardless, I do the free one. It seems to work. I've paid for it in the past, and it wasn't much difference um, than doing the free ad. So I do the free ad on Indeed, and I list what I want and the credentials and whatnot. But that's how I find most of my people. Some people you luck out and you just get them and you want to keep them. Like I have one good guy. He's been here over 10 years. He's my main guy. I do what I can to keep him happy, to pay him what I can. I give these guys bonuses. I try to keep them happy. Like I said, Christmas time comes around. I try and give people bonuses throughout the year. I try and give them bonuses, and I pay them as much as I can. So that's how I try and keep my good guys. Now laborers are a dime a dozen. You can still find laborers. I find now they all want paid $25 an hour to start with no experience whatsoever. They send me a resume from they're 20 years old, they worked at McDonald's or Walmart, and somehow they think they're worth 24 $25 an hour in the landscape industry. I don't go there. I wouldn't hire someone like that. I will take someone like that with that little experience and try them out, you know, uh, around $18, $17 an hour and see how they do, and then move them up from there, because that's reasonable. You don't want to hire someone based on what their resume says and based on what they say, and find out you're paying them $23 an hour, and then you find out a week into the job that he has no experience whatsoever, or she, that they don't know anything about the job, and they basically duped you and you're stuck with them now, and you have to let them go and everything else and start the process over. So I try and, at least once they reply to my ad that I have up looking for help, I try and get more information out of them right then. I ask them right off the bat, how old are you? Where do you live? Or do you live close? Do you drive? Do you have a clean driving record? How many years experience do you have? Can you do this, this, and this? And then if they answer back, because only about 4 out of, I don't know, 10 will get back to you answering those questions. If they get back to you and they've answered those questions, then I would fish a bit more and say, why did you leave your last company? Blah blah blah, and ask a few more questions. If they got back again, then I'm sparking some interest with this person, and I'll say, you know what, we should meet up and chat. Can you come in for an interview? And then I'll meet them somewhere that's convenient for them, whether it's at my shop or somewhere in between myself and them. And we'll have a quick 10-minute talk about what their experience is, what they want out of life, what they want out of this job, and go from there. By this time, I'm pretty good read of character. I can judge people pretty quickly from talking to them. So if I do end up talking to the person, I'll say, you know what, you're asking for $25 an hour based on your experience. I think you're worth 22 an hour. Let's start you at 22 and see how you work out. If things work out, we'll move you up the ladder from there accordingly. I'll pay you fairly. Let's see what you can do. That's the way I do it. If you get stuck with someone, you have to let them go and you have to do the process all over again. So finding good guys has always been a bit of a problem. I mean, people come, people go. Unfortunately, in this industry, that's the way it is. Especially with the grass cutting end of things. I noticed when I was doing the landscape maintenance that people would come here as a stepping stone. They wouldn't take it as a career. They wouldn't take it seriously. So it was always hard to find professional people to work for you back then when I was doing that, because people don't really care about that. They don't see cutting grass as a profession, which I think it is. So I sold the landscape maintenance business a few years ago, and I'm done with that now. But we do landscape construction now, and I find the employees I hire find the landscape construction more of a career to them. I can pay them more money, and they see it as a career as opposed to grass cutting, which they see as just a job that they can come and go whenever they please. So there was a higher turnaround with the landscape maintenance, lower turnaround with the construction, but either way, the past few years, guys, since COVID, it's just been crazy. Nobody wants to work anymore. Everybody who does want to work, they want a fortune with no experience whatsoever. It's been a bit of a nightmare for everybody who owns a business who's trying to look for good quality people to work, because the younger generation doesn't seem to want to work, around here anyway. But I hear it across the board from everybody, that you're not finding good workers anymore, and the good ones already have jobs, and a lot of people are getting out of the industry and moving on to other things, which is fine. But it's not as easy as it used to be hiring people. So once you hire them, you got to make sure you keep them. You got to have good days. Everybody's got to get along. The crew's got to get along. You can't have the crews fighting, otherwise you have to separate them. And it's good if everybody can work as one team. But once you start putting other crews out, you got to make sure you have leaders in place to lead those crews. So that's why I've always kept it a bit smaller than bigger. I did go bigger back in the day when we were doing the landscape maintenance. I had 3 trucks and trailers going, but it's a lot of people coming and going. It's a lot of headache, and it was a lot of BS basically for what it was. That's why I sold that off, and I merged into landscape construction so I can oversee it better. We keep it small, and we keep our jobs smaller in and out, and we keep the crews small, and that's how I do it. What else can I say about employees? Yeah, people come, people go. I tell them this isn't jail. You know what I mean? I treat them the best as I can. And the ones that don't work out, you got to get rid of the bad apples. That's part of it. You got to let them go. And I usually just lay them off so they can, if they have to, they can collect unemployment, if they have enough hours or whatever, until they find another job. But there's only been, I think, 2 or 3 times that I've actually fired someone over the past 16 years, and they deserved it. I won't get into that today, but firing people isn't a nice thing to do. But sometimes you got to get rid of the bad apples. Like I said, it wrecks it for the rest of the team if you have someone like that around. It's draining everybody else, and especially if they're not pulling their weight and everybody else is. Well, you got to get rid of that person, and then just keep trying, keep hiring, get your ads back up there. I keep ads up all the time. I just don't take them down. I have an ad up all the time, so I always have people sending me resumes or calling me and asking me for work, and I sort of keep track of who looks good and who looks bad. The ones who look bad, obviously, I'm not even going to get back to them, or I'll tell them I'm not interested. But the ones who look good, that's worth another conversation with them, and I might hire them for something. So that's the way I do it. Try and get the best employees you can. It'll make your life easier. It'll give you less work if you give them more responsibility. They'll move up the ladder. They'll work with you. They'll like you if you're a likable person, and it's better for your business. If you have sons, if you have family, I've noticed over the past 16, 27 years that I've been in the industry that family run businesses, they're in it for the long run, because there's no calling in sick every day because your son lives in your basement or he lives at your house. There's no disloyalty there. The family usually sticks together pretty tight around here anyway. And a lot of the small family businesses, you see them, time and time again, and they last for years. And they build up quite nicely, because then they get their kids working here as well. So family, if you've got family members, get them helping you. It's great. I don't have family members working for me. I just have the general public, but that's the way it is. Not everybody has kids that can work for them. So I just wanted to tell you that a bit today about my experience with hiring and firing, and how I get people. If it's helpful, great. Give me a like. If it's not, then nice to be here. Either way, I don't care. Check out my other videos. I've got lots of them on there regarding the landscape industry and the landscape business. Thanks, guys.